LJN Hulk Hogan figure, please?
It's 1985, and that'll be $4.50, please.
That's strange that you would mention the year, but okay. Hey, Zaash, look, my new figure.
Crikey.
I'll be right back, man. I need a smoke.
I have an idea.
Zaash, what have you done to my Hogan?
I turned him into Randy Orton.
Randy who?
Oh, hell yeah, boys.
What?
I said hell yeah.
Yeah, but why are you naked?
What? Yeah, Kevin, why are you naked?
Because Kevin Swales gets naked whenever Kevin Swales wants, and can't nobody do nothing about it. What? What? My balls itch.
And now, the LJN Fight Night Podcast, hosted by Kevin Swales, Duarte Da Ponte, Brutus Valentine, and Zaash Mann. Oh, baby!
Hey, ho, 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 DDP.
What's going on? I was just laughing because two of the guys in the supposed to be part of the show, not here. And Kevin Swales.
Brutus is on an extended break. He might be back next year or something, I think. Kevin Swales, he's probably just running a little behind. He'll join us as the show goes on. We haven't been doing this for a long, long time, Duarte.
It's been a minute. Been a minute, but what, a couple months?
Been a while, yeah.
Well,
I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I've forgotten what to do.
Hope you just uploaded all the videos and anything that's supposed to be there. Add the other guests. Simple things you gotta remember.
I think so. All right. Well, today, guys and girls, we're doing a tutorial podcast. So we've got three amazing customizers. Oh, also Shad coming on later. We mustn't forget Shad. He'll pop in soon too to chat to us. But we've got three.
He's a customizer. He paints. He does some work. You got to consider him one.
For sure. He'll be on soon too to chat about probably the comp and bits and pieces. But to start off with, we've got three awesome customizers, Claudio Pirolli, Sinn Bodhi, and Mark Cochran. So why don't we bring these gentlemen on? Welcome to the show, boys.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
Sinn, what the hell are you doing, man?
I'm doing my nightly old person walk with my wife in the desert. We walk from our house to the mountains and back every night, just about every night.
Show us some of your surroundings.
Do you take your Harvey Snoots rooster with you or no chicken?
Not since we kind of gave him his own harem. He doesn't want to be away from his bitches, so it kind of stressed him out. But so I'm in the mountains here in the desert, low desert, and we're walking towards the Vegas Strip, which is right here, but you can't really see it until the sun sets. And from my front yard, you'll see it really well. And I'll be back at my house in like 5 minutes. And then I'll go into my toy shop and whatever you guys want to do. And you want to play Mr. Potato Head with some chainsaws, and I'm ready to go.
Love your work, Sinn. Claudio, follow
up?
that up. What are you going to be bringing to the table?
Going to be getting creative. Like I said, I have this Hasbro figure, which I like the pose.
Mm-hmm.
So I got into the 3D printing recently. So I just printed some arms. We'll put them on a Hogan with a Mark Cochran head, pull a little Frankenstein, fix the leg up. And maybe if we get some time, show how I make some of the championship plates I make sometimes.
Nice.
There you go.
Are we allowed to have a look at that figure again? Put it up
Which
to
one?
the camera.
The
Hogan?
I think it's
Hasbro.
No,
this
the
one
one you're making.
This one here. This is pretty much the LJN Hogan with
with a missing foot, missing arms and head.
With this is a Mark Cochran head, the sized up Hasbro arms,
the broken Hasbro arms,
and the missing leg. There you go. That's
one. I would just like to quickly say that I've got a lot of Mark Cochran's heads. They're awesome. I think I really enjoy using that stuff, and he's got some really, really creative stuff. So thank you, Mark.
My problem with that is I buy so many, and I've got a backlog of Mark Cochran heads I need to use. It's crazy. They're so good.
It's okay. It's gonna get cold soon.
Exactly.
It's gonna be minus 30, so you're not going anywhere. Just keep making customs during the winter. Just like Sinn is right there wearing a jacket in the desert.
That's right.
This guy went to the desert after being from Canada, and look at him. He's wearing a jacket.
My blood has thinned. My blood has thinned. When I first moved to Florida and I saw people wearing hoodies at like 75 degrees, and I was like, what the heck? And they said, don't worry, once you get used to it, you'll be doing that too. And then sure enough, soon enough, you would just see every local in hoodies at 75 degrees or less. And you could always tell the people from England because they were swimming at 60 degrees. Like everybody else would be like, no freaking way. And here in Vegas, it's like the same thing. Like I have buddies visit from Canada or wherever, and it could be like 90 degrees out, and I still got the ass heater in my car. And they're like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, I'm a pussy in the cold. That's really the deal. That's my kryptonite."
He likes to wear a mask when he's driving. Leave the guy alone.
That's right. So I got a wrestler's back. So that heat seat warmer, the seat warmer is the greatest invention in the galaxy. I swear.
I agree. I totally agree. Totally agree.
Hey, Mark, try to take your microphone off mute, buddy. We can't hear what you're doing your end.
Oh, I didn't realize I muted it.
There it is. I didn't know. I thought he was quiet the whole time.
I was coming back and everything.
What have you got planned today, Mark? What are you
I'm
bringing
just
for
gonna paint
us?
a couple heads. I've got a couple Owen Hart heads that I'm gonna do some painting on. Nothing
Nice.
special. Just I'll start painting on these, and I don't know how far I get.
I ended
Do
up
you
getting
put
that.
them on-
Sorry, I ended up getting that paint that you recommended from Home Depot, like the premix that gets like a skin tone. Yeah, the guys couldn't do that, so they tried to match it the best they could by just hitting buttons, and they gave me some random container. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll take it.
They should have been able to just take the color.
He tried.
In there.
The guy tried. The kid tried. He didn't do it.
He didn't know.
It's because
It's
he's
really
in Ontario. He's in Ontario. In Quebec, he had no problem doing it.
Okay, here we
I
go.
worked
Here
at
we
Home Depot
go.
for 8 years. It's really easy. Like it's literally just punching in like 3 buttons, and then it's just the tense.
I wasn't gonna argue. I said, okay, fine, do what you can.
But did it work? Did it match or?
It looks like skin, so I didn't care really.
Hey, if it works, it works.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna argue
I was
with it.
driving myself crazy for a long time. Trying to figure out a good skin tone that was, wrestler tan meets normal skin tone, just something that would look kind of action figure decent and kind of match LJN skin tone. And I was always, messing around with different shades. And then, of course, I'm always clumsy and I'd scratch something or spill over or paint over something. And I could never color match it the same. And it would drive me absolutely bonkers. So I found when I get to my house, I'll tell you that I can't remember the name brand of it because I got different brands, but the name of the skin tone, it's perfect. I don't have to mix anything. It's Tawny Medium, and the brand stand by for that. But it's awesome. I go through buckets of it, and it's perfect.
Nice.
You don't have to mix anything.
Yeah, it's true. Sometimes
That's,
if you
that's
do
what
make
it is with this bear stuff. It's just a color match that I made and had them color match it at the store, and then I just go get this mixed about once a year.
But
And
it is good to have
that's
if you are making a bunch of different figures, good to have like a tint of like a different shade just to
I've
make.
got like 4 different colors. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my main one, but I've got like 4 different shades.
Yeah, you gotta have a couple so all of them don't have the same skin tone.
Right.
Like
I've
I
got
would
one
like.
that matches like Kislev Flesh from Citadel, which is what most people use for like Mattels and some of the Jax figures.
Uh-huh.
And I've got one that's this one. I've got one that's a little bit more dark, like kind of halfway between like the Rock and my normal one, and then I've got one that's about like the Rock skin tone.
What I like to do is get a base skin tone and get a bunch of tubs, pour some in each one, and you go from darker to lighter with them all, and you just mix a nice, like a nice reddish sort of dark tan or a brownish dark tan, and you just mix a load of different shades, and you put a dab on the top of each color of the top of the jar, and then you can sort of pick which wrestler looks that sort of color.
Yeah.
What I did once is also I asked Duarte, so I took the beige color, mixed in. I think you told me it was orange and brown.
Yeah.
And then I expect, yeah, exactly. And then I have this honey brown paint just to give it that little honey brown tone and mix it until you get the tone. And there's a different combinations you could try.
Yeah.
Because I made once and the guy looked like he had a really, really, really bad sunburn. So I'm like, yeah, this is not gonna work. So I had to start over.
Yeah.
Believe me, my
Yeah, there's
first
lots of
ones all
different
came
kinds
out
of
really,
brands.
really pink looking and like really like they were like I go back and look at them like, man, how did I come up with that skin tone? Like it'd be really dark and like really reddish and they're just horrible looking.
That's
It took
right.
me quite a few years to figure that out.
Yeah, it's
Also,
tough when you're
too,
painting like a
painting on
Hogan
a
or something.
rubber, painting on a rubber LJN versus painting on that gray resin, it'll come out different looking.
Oh yeah, well,
Yeah.
for sure.
Take that into account.
And the Citadel paint also, I noticed when you paint directly on the rubber, it's sticky all the way until you seal it, unless you put the white stuff. I forgot what it's called there.
Liquid text.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So that's when I started using it because
that makes it more sticky.
No, it doesn't actually, really, because mine is the
for
total
more
opposite.
rubber figures. It makes them really sticky until I seal it. But I think that gives it flexibility. I'm sure it gives it some sort of flexibility with the paint as well. I don't know. It's probably a silly theory, but
because I remember when I went to a store and I'm like, "Do you have any skin tone colors?" He's like, "What do you want to paint?" Like, I'm restoring LJN figures and I need like a Hulk Hogan type of color. It's like this will work, but this will stick. I'm like, "Don't worry, I'll seal it anyways at the end." He's like, "Okay, it's fine." When he said it would stick, I didn't think it would stick. That as soon as you would touch it, whatever speck of dust goes on it, you need to clean it out.
That's so annoying, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
I hate that. Claudio, why don't you start working on something for us and we can see what you're doing.
Cool.
And we'll flip between you customizers. So, Mark, if you want to start working, and Sinn, when you get back, set something up for us.
How cold is it in the garage right there?
Mine is not that bad. It's about 20 degrees right now. It's pretty warm. It was they call it the Indian summer for the last 3 days. It was almost 25, 26 degrees Celsius over here. Yeah, it was very warm, very warm. So it wasn't. It's not really cold right now. It's comfortable. Let's just say.
What is that Fahrenheit? Like 45 degrees or something?
I don't know.
I would say
you guys are the only country that does the Fahrenheit. Everyone else does degrees. Come on.
Fahrenheit would be about maybe 75, I'd say 75, 80 per maybe, yeah, something like that. Yeah. So it's not.
We've been lucky and we've had like 70 to 80 degree weather here in Texas, which is pretty rare for this time of year.
Jeez, Claudio, I hope you're faster than this when you're doing it off camera, mate. It's been 5 minutes and you've drilled a hole.
Yeah, I know.
He was ready.
I wanted to show you guys this as well. That I did 3D printed. Well, this is one of the heads we got with you guys.
Yeah.
You remember the pledge we
made? That's really nice, man.
So I need to actually finish this figure eventually. It's the mounting. So I have it ready. I was gonna do it tonight, but then
where did you get that top 3D printed from?
This one here is, I believe, Big Boss Man Hasbro that was converted into a custom Mountie, which I found. But then what I did is I cut it in half and I just mirror imaged the other side, because on the Big Boss Man, I don't know if you remember, there's one arm just like sticking out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the clothesline arm.
Yeah, exactly. So what I did is I just discarded that part, mirror imaged it, put it together, and then I watched a lot of those the Kevin Pelkey videos, the tutorials, how to put the head on the neck and do the joints and everything. It's not perfect. I'll still have to epoxy it, but I mean, it's a pretty
better than I could do. I can't even turn on the computer. Come on, the computer's always on. The computer stays on the whole time.
Sorry, what?
No, I just said my computer stays on the whole time. You want to put wires?
Yeah, that's what I do. I don't put screws. I put the wires.
Huh.
I've been doing this the whole time. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's what I was doing too, was wires with LJNs.
Just recently, what I started doing is I actually started super gluing them, because I found that it was a bit like a lot of work when you would potty and then you would move it. So what I do is I actually put the wire, super glue it, and then I work the epoxy around it.
You've drilled them holes about 10 times, Claudio. What are you doing?
I just want to make the holes to put the rods inside.
No,
I do the same thing.
What?
I do the same thing. I'll drill it out and then shove the wire in and just get in there as far as I can get it. And
there you go. Exactly.
And it also really doesn't even matter what size drill bit you're using. Just use like a 1/4 inch drill bit and it'll for that small wire, it'll still work because the rubber just kind of compresses on itself.
Yeah.
It's cool that you're using that because you can actually change the angles a lot better.
When I did my first, I think it was my second or third custom, the pallbearer I did. Well, while I was actually doing it, I moved the arms around because I was using this type of wire. So you can actually pose them. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can almost pose how you want the figure to look. So when you're chopping the arms and putting it together.
I might cut myself on this one. So
I was going to say, if you got the fake blood handy, that would be good for the video.
So,
should have done that. The fake blood. Ah!
And it's perfect time of year too. Every store has it.
Oh my god! If we see blood, we see blood, change the channel right away.
Well, you know what happened to me? Actually, I actually have a scar right here. What happened is I was actually piercing the legs, and I went too into deep with the bit, and actually the resin part actually exploded, and I just drilled right through my hand.
I've drilled through into my finger so many times doing what you're doing right now.
I've only had one accident. I cut my finger one time while watching TV. After that, I paid attention. It hurt so bad that I never got an accident like that again.
Yeah. We're going to slip on over to Mark for a little while. Yep. What are you doing, Mark?
I've been painting base layer, skin tones. Trying not to paint my screen with my brush.
What are you going to put him in? The rocket or when he was in the black outfit?
I've got one I'm going to do in the pink outfit and one in the black outfit. So I've got two of them I'm going to be doing. If
any of you viewers watching are wondering why Mark's painted the hair and face and everything all one flesh color, it makes a great undercoat for blonde hair. Is that right, Mark?
It does, but I actually, for Owen, I'll actually go with a dark brown first, and then I'll kind of lighten up from that.
Okay, so dry brushing on an angle across the...
Yeah. So I actually do the dark base first, and then I do a lighter brown, and then a blonde on top of that. Cool.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I put skin tone on my hair as well because it gives it kind of like an undercoat, and it's easier to paint the hair on top then. That's what I find anyway. How are you going, Sinn?
I just got Victoria. My dogs were freaking out. I hope you muted me while my dogs were losing their mind.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even hear it.
I really liked the Rougeau. That looked really cool.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, very cool. What can I tell you guys? So my place is a total crazy battle royal disaster. So here we are in my giant mess of there's some molds back there. There's a ton of resin boxes, which I can't move this through. Those resin boxes make awesome little shipping things, so I use those.
I use those a lot too.
Yeah. And then behind me, these are so the ones behind me that are just either like I can't move this right. So there, all these guys are like a bunch of my kind of just personal ones that I've made just ready to go that I haven't painted yet because just working on other people's stuff. And then what do I got over here? I'll just do this. Do all this stuff. So just a giant disaster area of stuff going on there.
I love it.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's a real artist cave right there.
Dude, my artist cave is brutal. And then what can I say? So I'm gonna go into my kitchen here. So I was teasing Jake the Snake that like my house looks like the Gulliver Travels of a bunch of little Jake the Snakes. Like there's all these little like bunch of Jake's ready to go for Jake, and those are Mark Cochran heads. Nice. So I always make those things for Jake. And Mark's really awesome to deal with. He's really great. So if anybody needs heads from him, he's reliable, he's awesome looking, and he's just a cool dude. We actually finally got to sit down and have a bite together not too long ago in Vegas. He was in town.
Nice.
I think he was cheating on his wife or something. I don't know. He was there.
I hope you guys were putting red 16 on the roulette table.
Right. And but yeah, it was awesome to so definitely all you guys sooner or later.
Nice.
But so sneaky little trick, right? That's what we're doing today is the swapping sneaky little tricks.
Yeah. So if you can, are you going to make some customs, or are you just going to talk about them?
I don't know. I can do whatever you want me to do.
You can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
Sin, you're the boss. Look at the size here.
Yeah, you do what you want to do.
I
Sin
would
does
never
what
tell
Sin
you what
does.
to do.
Talk about talk about how you come up with your ideas, how you make them, like the stands, like different outfits, like the Andre back there. You did him in a suit.
Okay, so that Andre. So there's.
And he puts it to Claudio. He puts it to Mark.
I'm drifting through everyone at the same time. So sorry, Sin. I will
all good,
go in and out
good.
for your screen.
No, all good, no problem. So Duarte was asking about that Andre. So I just remember, like I've had a couple of people kind of bust my chops about it, saying, "Well, Andre wasn't built that good, or he was, frumpier, or whatever." And I just kind of think all these, like, I don't care about modern day action figures. I care about this LJN. To me, is like gateway to our nostalgia. So I kind of look at like through child's eyes, like 80s, 1985 child eyes, and like how I perceive these guys and stuff. And so, and then also as a wrestler, it's my job to make other wrestlers look as good as possible. So, like I don't need to make everybody like with 10 abs. I certainly don't have 10 abs, but but just make them look like, the superheroes and supervillains that they are,
True.
And so that's why he's got those like, so I'll pull this up here.
Yeah, because you don't see many Andres in a suit.
Oh, yeah. There you go. There he is. So he's got like these giant hands. Like his hands are as big as his head. Or his body? I can't. And he's an awesome foreign object waiting to happen. I mean, this thing is a murder weapon, allegedly. He's huge. He's 3 sizes too big, like compared to like other LJNs. Like, put him next to. I'm making the Bollywood boys for a custom. So they're right here, actually, and they're in a really cool position because they're kind of doing their cool dance, and so you can see the one is kind of standing up, kind of like I looked at this photo, and one was kind of standing up, kind of he's in that sort of Eddie Guerrero pose. So that's not it was an Eddie Guerrero 3D file that I had my buddy Kevin Pelkey scanned an Eddie for me. And
is there a way you can focus your picture there? I know you're a bit of a caveman with technology, mate, but
yeah, a little bit.
That's all good. We like that about you.
Yeah, I'm a little bit old dog, new tricks. Some stuff I'm new, but
yeah.
So here so this Bollywood boy is, where did he go? There he is. So he's in this really aggressive kind of stance, as opposed to kind of standing straight up like the LJNs usually are. But I don't want him to be just like I had a couple people sort of also kind of squawk about if they're too rigid, like as far as like the Rick Rude hands on the waist kind of pose or whatever, like that pose that Hulk Hogan looks awesome, like he looks dynamic, like he's ready to drop an elbow or punch somebody or something.
That's what that's what I try to do as well. I mean, those try to do something different than just a museum pose. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, definitely.
And sometimes I think that works great with a rigid pose, but more times than not, I think the fancier the pose, the better. And and I just kind of thought that was, especially with the one Bollywood boy, I thought that would be kind of a cool bit. And then here I'm actually doing sort of more like what you guys are doing, where drilling I don't even remember what body this was. I think a Big Show action figure body. Why am I keep on turning the camera right and this is a head from, oh my God, who was that from?
Is that a Carlos Colon?
It's Carlos Colon. It's a Tom Veg head, but I usually I get the heads digitally, but this is a printed head from
Glory Days of Wrestling. No.
There, that's the ticket. That's
Charlie Fritz, yeah, because I got it from him too. Because I seen that one, and I was watching a Rumble, and I see this guy. He's like Carlos Colon. He comes in that red suit, and he gets to them like that guy's got to be part of my list, Yeah.
Yes. And so I did. I took like an old school. I want to say it was like a Big Show that had some kind of like button in his back, and I sculpted that over, and then I had when I was casting and molding some Brian Blair. My dog is trying to make me pet him right here. So the legs are Brian Blair legs enlarged from a galoob. Mm-hmm. That was a whole other process there. So those legs were just kind of like extra spare legs. I screwed up the top part of the body, And the arms are Bruno Sammartino rubber arms. And that's what I was going to show you on the back of this. You can't really see it now, but there was like the square peg where like their little button was, so he could move his arms and stuff. But he worked out to be the right size for an LJN, so I chopped him up.
Nice. What's it going? Claudio actually printed me the Billy Jack Haynes lower, and I put the Dynamite upper because he didn't have any knee pads, and then I just epoxied like the actual singlet. And actually turned good, but then I messed up with something, and then after I couldn't match the paint, so now I got to repaint his skin color. It's a pain in the arse. Guys, I
got a good skin color for that. Where? Let me find it. I'll tell you the name of it.
Because it's not an everyday skin color that I keep painting the figures, right? So,
yes.
What are you using there, Claudio?
This awesome. He keeps on bugging me to pet him while I'm doing this.
What were you using there, Claudio?
It's what I should be wearing gloves using, but I still don't. That's
what are you doing, man?
I know, man.
He gave you a public service.
I know.
Wear this. Look what happened to me.
And have them right here. That's the worst part.
Oh, man. That's got me like having hot flushes.
God,
just looking at that.
He's having anxiety, the poor guy.
But you.
He's having hot flashes.
Yeah, PTSD. PTSD.
I can feel my eyes flaring up just from watching you.
He's gonna cancel the whole podcast down because of this.
It's so weird that you get the allergic reaction. I mean, I've had like some itchiness, like not bad, but just kind of random itchiness, but not like crazy. And I've been using that stuff for like 20 years.
Well, I didn't get it, but took 2 years for me to get it, and I used it a hell of a lot in that time. And I was like, licking my fingers and stuff. And
well, there you go. What do you expect?
That's what I do when I sculpt them. I'm just like,
I'm in Zaash's in the same ballpark as Zaash. Like I used that for a long time, always just my bare hands, and then just all of a sudden, then my eyes like swell up, and my weirdly like my armpits and like my hips would get like these like blotchy marks. And then now just if I just look at it the wrong way now, then that'll happen and stuff.
Why don't you just have a container with water to keep dipping your hands?
Exactly.
I do. That's what I kind of use when I'm sculpting. Like that's what I do. I put my hands in the water, and then I put it on the epoxy, and I use my hands as much as possible to sculpt.
You do things you're not meant to do. Like Claudio right now, he's got gloves right next to him. We're like, why don't you put them on? Because we do things that we're not meant to. That's what we do.
That's pro wrestling right there. That's exactly being in the wrestling ring.
I don't know. It just feels like I get too much water.
Sinn, how was it being in that last match for Ric Flair? Because you're in a battle royal, no?
Yeah, I was in the battle royal, and I helped produce some of the other matches. I helped produce the battle royal, the bunkhouse, and I helped produce the lucha match of all matches. It was awesome. I mean, it was a bunch of different companies, all kind of getting under the same roof, for the common good of the Nature Boy and all that. Mm-hmm. And it was cool. Like, I mean, from like New Japan to Impact to AEW, WWE, MLW, whole bunch of things working together. It was really cool.
Really awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. Part of it. I remember telling the luchadors, I was just saying, okay, amigos, like this isn't AAA or AEW where the fans are expecting certain stuff. I said this is an arena full of very old school fans, and of course there will be those fans as well. But just so you don't kind of confuse, like some of these old school fans, they might not get down with some of the new ideas. So try to have your cake and eat it too, and just, kind of everything that you do, like it hurts. So show the fans that it hurts, instead of like rushing to get into that stuff. And then I was teasing them. I said, they're all good looking guys. But the one dude was real ugly, so he should keep his mask on. And the other guys just thought that was funny. So bunch of ugly putos in máscaras. And they're just like, oh yeah, see papi, see Simone wave.
I'm putting my gloves on. I'm putting my gloves on.
Look at you made him feel my luck.
Look at this.
He doesn't want to do this.
I've got another question. Did you wash your hands before you put the gloves on? Because otherwise you're just trapping all the stuff in there.
Well, now it's on, so at least
it can't get any worse. Okay,
exactly.
Not anymore.
Good stuff. Glad to
I've also got. I was going to show another head I was working on. Well, I got this from Glory Days of Wrestling 2, Luthez. So I actually got this torso from Kevin Pelkey, which was his Mil Mascaras. I found that the perfect muscle flabby type of physique.
It looks like the Iron Sheik.
But a bit, it does, but it's more defined. If you check around the
Yeah.
abs, it's more defined. And then I printed out some Morocco legs to give him this kind of pose, and then with the head, eventually this will get done as well.
Oh, so
Like
cool.
I said,
love it.
I have too many heads for my own good. I mean, I have got such a huge backlog. I keep buying figures and
Just start building. Start building now because it's gonna get cold.
Oh no, that's why exactly. We take advantage of it once it gets cold.
I've got base. I can't find my camera here. I got base layer of hair.
Oh, nice.
Did the dark line for the eyes, eye color.
So you'll basically go back over with flesh and cut the eyes in, cut the eyebrows in, and all that.
So I'll paint skin tone all the way back in, and then I'll do the eyebrows after that.
Yeah, nice.
I don't know. It's just the way I do it. I'll go through and I'll actually completely do the skin tone again, and then I'll add like the lips and the.
So is that going to be a dark-haired Owen Hart?
No, it'll be a blonde, but that's how I start with the base.
Really, you go so dark that's almost black.
Yeah, it's a dark brown.
I love seeing different stuff people do. Mark's been customizing longer than anyone I know, so
dark
interesting.
Oh,
yeah.
Dark burnt.
I use a lot of umbers.
The next color I'm going to use is mahogany brown. It's not real light, but it's a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
And then,
if you guys want, this is nothing. This is nothing.
I've got a Iraqi sand.
Yep. I'm glad to see you're not using yellow.
I've had problems with the skin tone of that brand, the one that Mark just showed. There's one specific. There's one specific skin tone which it worked fine, and then I actually put sealant, and with time it looked like it kind of lightened. I don't know why, if it was just me or.
I really haven't used
some reaction.
I'm not sure what it does.
Okay.
I've been using my skin tone mix since like 2009.
Okay, so. One trick I wanted to show is when I do cuts, usually I do them around either the knee pads, elbow pads, or around the tights, so that when you actually epoxy it in and sand it, it's less visible once you paint over it.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah, cool.
Let's work.
I'm gonna put on a video Duarte's done. Duarte's done 2 videos for us, tutorial videos. So I'll put one of them on now and put one of them on a little later. So let's watch this, guys.
Okay, what's up, guys? Here's my little custom hack of how to put lower to an upper.
Where the hell is the video?
Okay, what's up, guys? Here's
just putting damn audio.
I'll show you a quick little tutorial of how to attach a new hand.
He didn't do anything wrong. It's me. I've done. I think
how to put.
You got to blame Duarte though. You got to blame him.
Hey,
no. I'm not. I said stuff and let people figure it out. I'm not a tech guy.
It's use your imagination.
It's not my problem.
They were working fine. Them videos in practice. It seems like my Wi-Fi might be a bit slower now than it was. I don't know. Maybe all you clowns being on the show has taken up all the Wi-Fi.
No way.
Why don't you guys keep the show rolling? I'm going to plug in my my cable and see if it makes a difference. So keep the crowd entertained, would you, Duarte?
Sinn, I'm still working on your custom, but your damn tattoos are the hardest things to do.
My wife gets so mad when I do the tattoos on different stuff because she's just like, "You're an asshole. You're not doing this very nicely. You're scribbling these tattoos." And I just kind of try to tell her, "Hey, Bob Ross doesn't paint leaves. He just splatters ink down and then presto changeo leaves." And she gets so mad at me.
It's impossible. I'm trying to look for all these different tattoos and stuff like that I'm getting from Cincy. So I'm trying to hard, but now I got to redo your face because I painted your face paint, but I should have shaded it so it wasn't too strong. You know, you're one of the hardest figures to make because too much colors.
You know what? When I was still talent on SmackDown 100 years ago, the toy dude, the executive guy that was in charge of that mic, something or another, he was saying how like most of the toys at the time, you had to kind of look at the name like on the packaging to kind of tell them apart because there were all these, short-haired, guys in like undies and kick pads. He goes, you're going to be so different. He goes, you are going to be such a pain in the ass to make, but it's going to be a cool toy. And then I got canned literally before they went to not print, but whatever the right term is, like to production.
Yeah.
And then same thing, I got jammed out of a video game right before I got released. I was supposed to be in the next video game, whatever. And so I get 0 royalties, 0 any of that stuff.
Oh,
Son of a gun.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm making this is really simple, but I'm making a Doug Gilbert, and so I was just putting the splotchy.
I'm not sure who is he. I'm not being anything. Who is he? I'm not sure.
Doug Gilbert is a Memphis wrestler related to Eddie Gilbert and Tommy Gilbert, which I'm actually making all 3 of those for somebody right now. That's why I'm making this. I mean, I've been in the ring with this dude. He's a hell of a wrestler. He's one of those Memphis guys. They're just a whole different kind of breed. They're all crazy and they're all funny, and they can all really work at such an awesome level. This was actually like I kind of MacGyvered this one, because usually these days I've been printing guys in full, like as a full thing. Like I'll just doll them up on the 3D sculpt, figure out exactly what I want, then I print them and then I paint them. But this guy is like, he's sort of a hodgepodge. So I took a Bash and Booger head and I filed it down, sanded it down, I sculpted on some hair, and he's got a sweet little mohawky mullet thing. This was a Bret Hart body that I made. I've got like the cast heads for him. I think I had a cast head from. I had one from Zaash before, and I made that, and then I actually gifted that to Beth Phoenix for her birthday. And then I got an awesome head that I have not used yet, but I have it over here, and I will show you. I will show you right here. Hold on.
What a toy making room you have! Everything everywhere.
Dude, this is just one of many rooms. This is so. I'll show you. Let me see this yet. Mark hasn't even seen this yet. These are all Mark heads. So we got the foundation here. We've got a Bret head, an Owen head, and an anvil. So those are all Mark heads.
Nice.
So these bodies are all like head and everything, like all digitally put together and then printed all as one huge piece. So there's no epoxy, nothing. They're just ready to be printed. And then, but the body that was on that Doug Gilbert that I was just showing you guys was a Hitman body that I made before with a Zaash head. Was the body that I printed for the head that Zaash had sent me. It was a Hitman head with the glasses on. And then, so I just reprinted that body, and I just hand sculpted like put a little Darby on him, put a Darby on him, and put a towel on him, and then sculpted the hair, and then did the face a little bit. Like I carved out his face and gave him more teeth, because Bash and Booger doesn't have a whole lot of teeth. But if you guys like that, then here's an easy showing of how talented Mark's stuff is. So I just haven't gotten around to paint these guys just yet, but I will. And my favorite's always Anvil. Like I think Owen was the most skilled wrestler. Bret was the most over wrestler, but I think Anvil was the most wrestler. Like built like a brick shit house. Yeah, I mean, just a superhuman. Like the other 2 dudes were human. I don't know that Anvil was ever human. He is like just a mastodon. I've been in the ring with Anvil. I've been on the road with Anvil. I've been in a locker room with Anvil. He was human. He's a super good dude, rest his soul. And I'm buddies with his daughter to this day, really that whole family. But Anvil was just like superhuman strong. Like I'm not a small dude. I don't think Zaash, you're a pretty big dude too, right? You're what, 6'2", 6'3" or something?
6'1".
6'1". We'll call it a sports entertainment 6'5". And plus with the metric system and the conversion rate with into Australian currency, you're like 8 feet tall, bro. And so Anvil, I'm taller than Anvil was, but Anvil was like 3 of me. And I remember him standing up one time in a locker room. I guess he had this idea, and he was like, "Sid, stand up and lock up with me for a second. I want to see something." I go, "Okay." I stood up with him. I locked up with him. It was like locking up with my fucking pickup truck. Like it wasn't budging. Like his legs were rooted in planet Earth. Like I couldn't have budged him if I took a running fucking start at him. Like, he was ungodly, he was like supernatural. But I got
he still holds some shot put records and stuff too.
All in one episode, drilling, put arms together, epoxy and everything, and forced to put on the gloves. Guaranteed.
Look at that. Look at that.
When the show goes off, he's going to take off those gloves and go right there.
I reckon Claudio will be finished this in about half an hour.
Yeah. He had it all prepped. He knew what he was going to do, and there was a lot of leg work to happen. There's a lot of thinking.
Actually, what's fun about the podcast is it forces me to do figures that I've been putting off for a while. So that's what's fun.
There you go. You got one. You got one.
Okay.
It's fun. It's funny that he does that too, because there's figures that I could spit out in a couple days, and then there's figures that have sat on my table for like months.
Nice.
It's and they're teasing you. They're there and they're just staring at you and teasing you. Like, you know
Absolutely.
what? You need
Absolutely.
First got a blonde on that.
I'm gonna try and put Duarte's video on again. Let's see if it works.
Let's see if he does it this time.
Okay, what's up, guys? Here's my little custom
just
house
the audio.
of,
I can see it.
lower, turn upper.
I can't see it.
the
It's a
easiest
dark
way I
screen.
think of
Can
it.
anyone else see it?
No,
this is
can't see it.
When I used to start doing this,
I can see it.
I used
Just
to
do
put,
the scribed video like they do on TV. And now Duarte is doing this.
Oh, I'm definitely not going to go downstairs and do it again. I can guarantee you that. Always 100% guarantee you. I know nothing's guaranteed in life. That is. I ain't going downstairs to do it again. Fuck
It's
that.
not the first time I've stuffed up one of your videos, John.
Okay, man. Next
Let's
time.
give it one more go. Hey, what's up, guys?
Try the other one.
what's
Maybe
up,
the other
guys?
one works.
Here's my
Again,
little
just the
custom
audio.
hack of,
Stupid
How about
thing.
if you try the other one? There was two, no?
I've tried both. I tried
Okay,
the other
man.
one before. I'll try it again. People love hearing the hey, what's up, guys? I don't know whether this is the one that I. Oh! I've lost all my skills with podcasting. Maybe I should have retired before
What's
this
up, guys?
retirement one.
There you go. Again.
Just a quick little
I can't
tutorial
do
how
audio.
to,
All right.
Give it up.
Well, I'm going to put that on our YouTube account.
Nice.
So if you want to see these Duarte's videos that I've been trying to show you, and they are really, really, really good tips, go onto YouTube.
It's
look up
easy. It's not.
LJN Fight Night Podcast. If you are not subscribed to the best YouTube channel in YouTube world, then you're a fool. That's all I've got.
Nice.
Hey guys, what do you think about this?
I
This
don't know whether you
is
can see the color on here, but this Owen has the lighter brown kind of dry brushed on over the dark brown. It's probably hard to tell with my camera right now, but so there's two tones of brown going on with that one, and then this one I've done the blonde over. And I could probably go kind of over with a light dry brushing of a more of a bleach blonde and give it just a little bit more pop, but it'll actually work where it is right now.
Those eyes are tripping me out, though. Big white. Just yet, I keep looking at his eyes. I'm not even looking at the hair. I keep staring at the eyes. I hear you talking, but I'm just looking at the eyes the whole time.
I know where I've seen that same eyeshadow. That same eyeshadow is painted like the drummer from Twisted Sister. That's exactly where I thought of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly right.
I keep staring at the eyes. He's talking about his shady and stuff. I'm like,
Don't
nice.
judge the eyes till he's done. Right, Mark?
I kind of work different ways. Sometimes I'll do the eyes first and then clean it all up and then go to the hair. And sometimes I do the hair first.
I'm the same.
just
There's no
kinda
set way
whatever
you
I'm
have to
feeling
do
that day.
something.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. You can make it look the same outcome and do it total opposite ways. It does not matter.
I totally agree, but I was just tripping out at the eyes the whole time. I know it's gonna look good at the end, right? I'm not saying that.
I may or may not have the right brush with me to do the cleanup around the eyes right now. I don't know. I have one more good brush right here.
Why not just leave it like that, Mark?
I can always redo it if I mess it up.
Hey, what do you guys think about this? I was thinking about doing this pose for the Jacques Rougeau with these arms and the little zapper.
Oh yeah. Oh cool. Yeah, yeah. I think that's great.
This is what I was thinking of using. Got a couple
Yeah.
Terry Punks.
You've
So
got
you're
great ideas with figures, Claudio. I love how you piece things
thanks, man.
together. You've got really good way of thinking.
The thing is, it's hard to focus on one figure because you're doing something and you're like, oh, wait, I could do this instead. And then
Right?
you
Yeah.
start doing it and you're like, oh, no, wait, I could do that
You know
instead.
what? You should
I
always
gotta
be on
put like
camera.
3 things in front of me so I can do that. Because if I don't have something else to work on while paint dries, it's like, all right, well, I'm just gonna get up and walk away.
And just do it last minute, right? And just get it done.
Right?
I was chatting to the other customizer in Australia, Nick Johnson, the other day, and he said he's just gone through this stage where he's just putting tons of customs together, and he's just loving like piecing them all together, and then he'll have a bunch to finish at the end. And it's funny, you go through stages. Well, I do it sometimes where I'm just piecing heaps of them together, and I'm like, God, I better start finishing some of these, or otherwise I'm going to have a garage full of half figures. Do you guys do the same? Do you guys just get these great ideas and have to do it straight away?
Did you not see Sin? Did you not see Sin's his display back there? He had them like all 4 walls and corners and under the table, going through in the cupboards everywhere.
I have this Rick Martel that I started, never finished.
He has the Jake the Snake shrine in his kitchen.
Yeah.
I've got
It's weird. I agree with Zaash. Like I kind of like, again, between the ones that I make for myself for my sanity, and then the ones that I make for people that are buying stuff. And I mean, it's not any secret for, I think all of us are, it's hobby turned side hustle, especially since the pandemic. I mean, that's how it's been for me. So if I make something that I want to make, then when I post it online, then somebody may or may not want to buy it. If they do, okay, fine. Then I'll just make another one for myself. And that's all those ones back there were like duplicates of ones that I made. Somebody said, can I have it? And I said, yeah. And then I'll print it for myself again. So that's kind of like the phantom zone of like my stuff waiting to happen. But like when I'm making these things, if I've got a bunch of orders plus just whatever, just something for myself, instead of me sitting there painting and then sculpting and painting and sculpting and 3D sculpting and doing this and doing that, I kind of assembly line stuff. So I'll like Zaash said, I'll assemble like 10 different dudes. Then I'll be in the printing room, or then I'll be at the painting, and I'll paint 10 different dudes at the same time. I'll print 10 different dudes at the same time. And if I have everything going really well, I'll have little dudes printing, and I call it throw it in the dip. Like my wife's like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "I'm going to go throw some little dudes in the dip while I because they print overnight and hey, Cookie, how are you?
They take about 8 hours to print like a full figure. Yeah,
and so some of these guys like that. Doug Gilbert was like printed head on top. That was actually a cast and molded head on top of a printed body, and then that Carlos Colon was a total chop shop. Kind of like how I did this more at the beginning of the pandemic. That's really what most of my guys were, like maybe a 3D printed head that I got from Tom or Mark, or I got a casted head from Zaash or Gador or some other guys like that. And then I would just play Mr. Potato Head with the bodies, and then add different arms and different heads and whatever, different legs, and then epoxy this and that on there. But now it's just like it's all over the place. So like whatever the project requires. But yeah, like I have a whole bunch that are not painted. I have a whole bunch that are like this is a Zaash head that he sent me that I haven't finished yet. It's Paul Orndorff on a 3D printed Lex Luger glue body, but it's like LJN size. Everything I do is LJN size unless like somebody asks for a specific. Like I have a couple dudes ask me for smaller stuff. And I don't like doing the smaller stuff because like I got big, huge gorilla paws, and for me to sit there and do all the little detail, like I can't tell you, I may or may not have. Yeah, I mean, I may or may not have flung a little dude across the room a time or two or time or 10. So I would tell guys like, hey, if you want a little galoob size one, I can design like whatever size I, printed is whatever. If it's all 3D, but painting those little dudes is such a pain in the ass compared to an 8-inch figure. So. Like I just did a Chris Champion, and he just went in the mailbox, so I can't show him to you. But he was just like galoob size, and fuck, he was a pain in the ass to make. And but this dude wants these like little galoob size ones, so I kind of don't charge a whole lot less than for the bigger ones, just because it's for what little materials it is. It's more grief, so I kind of balance it out.
Yeah,
and all that stuff. But
the The cost is for the anger for the little guy. You little
Yeah,
this little guy,
totally.
you're getting it for the anger. Bam.
Yeah, you're paying anger payments is what you're doing. Yeah.
I did my first Hasbro sized figure the other day, and it was actually quite fun. I enjoyed it.
You be quiet.
It was different. It was I wouldn't swap my LJNs for them, but it was good to go into something different, I guess.
But wait. Did you like Mr. Potato Head it, or did you like 3D print it?
No, I casted the head, and I put it on an actual Hasbro figure, but changed the look of everything. And I had to sand off the beard and do some little features, this and that to it.
So like all the Hasbro customs I see, I think they look really cool and I really like them. I don't want to go anywhere near them because I don't want to just start collecting a whole other collection. Like I have a whole bunch of like original Hasbro ones, but I just think it's just a whole territory I'm just not prepared time wise. It's like if I went to a comic book store, if I bought one, I'd have to buy the whole damn store. So like LJNs is already overwhelming. Like for me, like I have like I'm gonna take you guys on a tour. This is ridiculous. So this is what an asshole I am. So there's all these little dudes in my toy shop, which my wife is cool enough to let me have like so much of this house is like toy shop. So I'll hear this is just my workshop. Now I'm gonna go into the office. And here this is where it gets disgusting. So there's like I'm gonna turn the camera here. So there's all these little dudes. So here's my office. All these little dudes on my desk. And then all these little dudes everywhere. I don't know if I'm holding it together, but just dudes, more dudes. All underneath Jake the Snake's snake tanks. So underneath here,
thousands.
My wife would divorce me in a second if this was
giant. These are giants, giant snake tanks that I have. That's where Jake houses his snakes that he uses on tour. And then on top of that is all my toys. So like there's a couple of Mark Cochran. Am I getting a couple of Road Warriors that I made with Mark Cochran heads? And you can see that. I don't know if I'm getting a good angle of it, but are they there? Are you seeing it?
Yeah, I see.
Now I'm going to take you guys into what my wife calls the murder room. It's the Dexter room because it's all like
he's got different rooms for different things he does.
Yeah, and I'm walking through the dark here.
Room, the staging room.
Yes.
Room.
I see we've got Shad Goat here backstage. So after we've seen this room, we'll bring Shad on and he'll have a chat to us about custom comps and maybe give us some tips on repainting figures.
In my murder room here. So there's a wrestling ring with a giant octopus. That's what you're looking at right there. Legit size. And there's also little dudes there. There's my stations and whatever. And then in here's my murder room of printers. None of them are on right now. They will be on tonight.
Geez, how many printers you got? 3, 4?
Perhaps 7.
Did you say 7? Did I hear 7?
7?
Yes.
Holy crap! Wow.
7 printers?
Nice.
Now, have you ever broken the glass? What is that? What's that glass?
I have 6 at work, and I broke one by accident. There was like a little piece of debris in the VAD, and it hurt the FEP sheet so bad, and I didn't catch it on time, and it all spilled over and went all into the machine and all into like little mechanical bits and just fried the whole fucking thing.
Oh wow! Okay.
Oh.
And it was I went for like 2 weeks. I was pissed.
Yeah.
Is it completely fried, or can you place the LCD on it?
It went inside the machine, though.
Is it completely fried?
The resin got into it. I tried to clean it out as best I could, and then it would turn on, but the screen was all janky, so it would do some stuff, but it wouldn't. It won't print. Like it won't.
Yeah, you have to replace the LCD screen. They're usually like $50-$60.
What? Where do you get your LCD?
I replaced. So okay.
150 to 200.
So you guys, they're way more than that. You guys are gonna laugh at this. So, I didn't because I'm a fucking asshole. So, I didn't for the longest time know about screen protectors. I just thought if a FEP sheet ruptures and a little bit of resin gets on your screen, then you have to do a really, really careful job of cleaning it off. I didn't know any better because why would I fucking know? You know, it was all brand new, like just learning this stuff for the first time ever. And again, most of this was during the pandemic when, you know, so many places were closed and this and that. And I didn't know half you guys quite yet. Like I tripped over our friendships throughout the pandemic. So some of you guys I didn't know until I did. And so when I was figuring this out, I had a buddy of mine, Chachi, a dude that's he's just a 3D printing guy. Like he's not a wrestling guy. He's just a guy that does like all these 3D printing stuff. And he kind of, I think he thought it was funny that I was a wrestler and I was trying to do this without smashing pieces of equipment. So he thought it was funny and he kind of took mercy on me and he just gave me a lot of really cool pro tips on how to do this stuff. And not before I spent $5 bajillion on fucking screens and whatever, because I would wreck these LCD screens, and I would try to, you know, use a little razor blade to scrape the stuff off. And of course, I would be a caveman and I would fuck up these screens. So like, I literally had 7 of these machines going. In the first week of having that 7th machine, I fucked it up, and then I was, you know, scraping the screens and all that stuff. So I said, fuck it. And I bought all new screens for these things because I had mangled these other screens. And then right before I started pouring my first thing, my buddy Chachi was just like, you know, if you get a screen protector, then when you get resin on the screen, you just pull the screen protector off and they cost about fucking 25 cents each, as opposed to buying a $200 screen. I'm like, motherfucker. And then I think I threw more toys that day. And so that was such an expensive lesson learned. Like, holy shit.
I was just saying to the boys backstage, I think I've been through about 3 of them.
So the tip is,
to be honest, I just started using screen protectors recently, but I've known about them. I just hadn't used them.
The tip is get screen protectors, right? If you want to save money.
Yeah, so I have it like kind of saved in my wife's Amazon account or whatever, because I don't even go on there and order stuff. Like I just tell her, hey, order me a big box of resin, or order me a bunch of FEP sheets, or order me whatever. So it's just kind of saved in her little notes of like what to get. But I couldn't even tell you exactly what it is. It is
it's the same one as the cell phone.
I'm going to quickly bring Shad on because he's been waiting backstage for a while, guys. So let's just have a quick chat to FEP sheets in bulk lot. He doesn't muck around. Shad, go here.
What up, buddy?
What up?
What's up?
Nice to see y'all again.
What's up, Shad?
Nice to see you too.
Freezing there, eh? Look at him.
We had like 3 major accidents on the number 1 coming. I got 20 kilometers to drive home from work. It took me an hour and a half.
Fuck.
So apologies for keeping y'all waiting. I'll catch up on the show after it's over. But I was just going to come in tonight and talk a little bit about the events. Just did a little paperwork here. Can't flip the camera around, so I'm just going to read it off. But starting with the ladder standings this season with 51 points, Zaash Mann.
Big points.
24 points, Claudio Pirolli. 20 points, Jason Espedito. So there's a close little race. Tim Bateman with 13. Alan Carpenter with 10. Kevin Swales, Mark Cochran, and Joe Gatter all with 6. So everybody's got a good chance at it. And if anybody that's out there watching was wondering how we got that breakdown, it's done by first, second, third, and fourth. Points are 15, 10, 6, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
So event 1, Zaash 15 points with Steamboat. Second place, Jason Espedito with Bret Hart 10 points. Kevin Swale 6 points with Jeep Swanson. Fourth, Claudio Pirolli with 3 points with HBK. Zaash, just shout out if you don't want me to do this, dude. I'm just going through what I have here.
He's going proper points.
No, go for it, man. Go for it.
Okay, then moving into event 2, the big man himself, Claudio Pirolli with first place and 15 points. Woo!
Yeah.
Alan Carpenter. Oh, sorry. Claudio's figure for event 2 was demolition.
Yeah.
Alan Carpenter in second place with Jake the Snake and Alice Cooper, 10 points. Zaash Mann with his Warrior, 6 points. And Mark Cochran with that Scott Hall with the wicked hand. Yeah. Sorry, man. 3 points. Event 3. Zaash again with 15 points with his Hogan versus Macho. Jason Esposito, 10 points with his Heart Foundation. Claudio Pirolli with Ultimate Maniacs, 6 points. And Tim Bateson coming in 4th with his classic WCW. And then in our final event, our second to final event, our last event, Custom Mania. Zaash with his Rocky set, 15 points. Tim Bateman with Bret Hart, 10 points. Joe Gaddar with MJF, 6. And Mark Cochran again with Bloody Flair.
That was a good one,
with
too.
3 points. And that's just a little bit of a catch up on what's happening with the events. Next event entries are due November 13th. It'll go the same as the last ones. We'll open it up with multi-voting, eliminate some figures, work our way down the ladder. Yeah. Anyhow, if we're on the subject of events and such, I wanted to pose a question to you guys and anybody out there that would like to chime in. Contemplating for the next season, starting next year, what do you guys think about doing 2 divisions? I'm thinking 2 divisions because, and no disrespect meant to anybody who does 3D. I love this stuff. You guys are all doing it. But is it really fair if somebody buys somebody else's figure and just paints it, but then can put it in with hand sculpted and other figures, when, I don't know, in my opinion, it's more of like a repaint, like what I used to do with my LJNs, right? I mean, I think Sinn is a different situation because you've scanned everything, you build everything, you put it all together, and then you paint it. But I feel like there's a difference, hypothetically, about you putting one in or me actually just buying one of your figures unpainted and doing it. So I'm thinking we should have, and this, I'm putting it out there, 1 division for hand sculpts and stuff that is, has actual LJN parts or was made out of an LJN as compared, and then another division, which is like the 3D stuff and the painted stuff.
So
let's go around. What's your thoughts?
I got something on that. I think first off, just before I even go on that, just all the different figures that Shad was talking about, like the Demolition and the Hogan and Macho Man and the Rocky stuff and everything that he mentioned, I just personally thought was so awesome. Like everybody's stuff was just so fucking cool. Yeah. So just having said, I just want to say that because I just like again, I've said it on here before. I'm sure. I do know. I can't remember what I ate for breakfast, but I remember that I said this before, that you guys kind of kept me sane during the pandemic, and so my heart is in a special place when it comes to these little dolls, as Jacques Rougeau would call them. But I think so. Yeah. So just mad respect to all you guys, and then the guys and girls that are listening that make these, like out of hobby or whatever, why they're making them. I think they're just awesome. But so to go to what he's talking about, I think like whether they're 3D made or made from somebody else, if you're buying anything from somebody else and just painting it, then maybe that's technically a repaint or something. Like if you buy a Zaash original, like I have a couple of Bulldogs here that I haven't painted from Zaash yet. And I know they're like Tom heads, and I know that Zaash MacGyvered the bodies into looking the way the bodies did, but he cast and molded those. Yeah. So they're basically, whether it's half Todd and half Zaash in that instance, if I was to submit that should be in the repaint category because it's just somebody else's product.
So you're saying unless you've sculpted either a head or a couple of hands or an upper to lower, that's the difference. You got to actually do more than just paint.
Yeah, maybe if you basically, I don't know that we need to have, super duper like World Economic Forum, mind bending, stringent rules. But I just think because this is fun, what we're doing, so, but I think basically, yeah, if you're splitting up in categories, maybe just, yeah, if you bought an original, if you bought if somebody bought a Duarte, whoever, Duarte made a I don't know, like a body from, Outback Jack and put a Paul Orndorff head on it and did this and did that and put a mustache on and put a vest on him and whoever he's supposed to be. If it's Blackjack Mulligan and Zaash made it, now you're going to go. I mean, Duarte made it, and then somebody's going to paint it. Maybe that's a repaint because that's a Duarte custom, not a whoever's custom. Does that make sense? Am I sounding like a fool?
I don't want to go into any names because not proper thing to do, but there's an event where one person bought somebody else's work, put a jacket on it, and called it their own. Would that count as a sculpt, or would that?
So here's my thought on it. It not necessarily needs to be like hard lines of just like a repaint versus somebody that does actual like sculpting stuff. I think it's more of like the overall skill set involved in what their figure is. It's not. I mean, there are some great figures that are just repaints. And that's why I've always kind of pitched like the 3-division thing. You have like a beginner division where those people are just doing some of the basic level repaints. They're doing the kind of unskilled work. It's just it looks like what it is. I mean, it's simple, easy stuff. Now
that's also a good idea. I agree.
And then like the middle division would be like that guy that did the WCW repaint. So they were 3D prints from I think Pelkey or somebody. And they were just painted. They were painted great. They were awesome painted, but he literally just painted them. So, I mean, yeah, they're just repaints, but if you put them in the same class as somebody that's at like beginner level is, doing a Ricky Steamboat repaint versus repainting something that's more complex like that Sting and Dustin Rhodes, those are a little bit more complex and a little bit more skilled. So I think there's a little bit like, it's not so much hard lines, but just kind of look at the skill set involved and look at their skill level. Yeah. And maybe give them an option and say, hey, do you want to be in the, like, I always call it, we did it like way back, it was like cruiserweight, IC, and heavyweight. Yeah. And like cruiserweight was the beginners, IC was your middle ground people, and heavyweight was your top people. And
is it too harsh?
Let them compete in the top. But if they don't want to compete in the top, they're like, hey, you know what, I'm not really going to be competing in that level. Put them in the middle.
Is it too harsh just to say like curtain jerk, mid card, and main event?
Yeah, I mean that works too. That totally works too.
Curtain jerkers. What?
The problem lies is we don't have the numbers for more than one division. Well, what are we getting? 15 people in a comp? 16 people?
No, isn't it like 20?
Yeah, it was a lot less comp.
I bet you there'd be a lot more people if there was more forgiving.
To actually come in knowing that, if you get some guy that's doing his first custom and he's trying to compete against Zaash, I mean, he's never going to get anywhere. So you have somebody that doesn't really know what they're doing and they can get, put in against entry level guys. They're going to have a little bit more confidence going further than just, look, I put myself in and nobody voted for it because it was, I think it'll help grow their confidence.
What if these entry level guys don't want to do a repaint? What if they want to be in a division that's not up there with the really good customizers? What if they want to sculpt something and don't want to be a repaint?
That's what I'm saying. They're more than welcome to sculpt. That's what I'm saying. You got to look at the skill set overall of like, you can tell beginner level sculpting, you can tell beginner level painting, you can tell kind of intermediate level stuff. And let them kind of decide where they want to be put in that place.
What about if there was a repaint an amateur section where the amateurs can? What about there's an amateur section where they can do repaints or whatever, but it's an amateur section. But in the elite or the professional, whatever you want to call it, section, they have to have some degree of hand sculpting.
I mean,
do we agree with that? Or it can't be more than 2 divisions, though.
Yeah, I just don't like hard like clarifications on that because, like you said, it's more of like the skill sets involved instead of just like repaints.
What's your thoughts, Claudia?
I kind of agree with. It's like. Because I spoke about this with Mark, I spoke about this with a few guys, and I agree with it. It's kind of hard to make sections, but in my specific case, let's say this is a figure that I'm doing right now. It's one of yours with one of Mark said. I would never enter this as a competition because it's not really mine. So I'm not the kind of person that would enter someone else's figure, just repaint it and enter it in a competition and try to win with it. I mean, it's not mine. It's cool that people do it, but they should be maybe a different.
But you're okay with people using parts from like another sculpt or whatever?
Yeah. I mean,
PC
as long as you
painting.
make, as long as you show the skill of making a custom and
You
putting
put
it
it
all
together,
together,
right?
that's what it is.
These are sculpting.
So-
like-
It's just a. I had kind of have a hard time with just flat out. Not you print your own figure and you design your own figure and you print it and you enter it. Is a fine line between that and just buying someone else's print and just painting it and passing it as your own. I mean, the paint skills are amazing. I agree, but in a custom competition where there's other skills involved like 3D printing with actually sculpting or even 3D sculpting, it's kind of a, I don't know. It shouldn't. I wouldn't enter someone else's figure as my own. That's me personally.
So it's basically two divisions: one of
painted
work and then one of doing work.
It's just what's hard is like what I think Mark said. Maybe the beginners are gonna hesitate into going into competition because of other winners from the past or whatever. So that I don't know how to make that kind of possibility happen for like beginners. Because I remember when we started talking about this competitions,
It's
when
not
I just started
about winning though.
No, it's not.
About
It's not, but
just
it's
entering for fun.
That's what. No, but I know. But I mean, some people. Okay, I'll be honest. Me being eliminated first round, last one, I kind of did. It was shit. I felt this shit, but whatever.
My team loses all the time, and it makes me angry.
I feel that.
But I'm always going to do another one, but man, does it make me angry?
I mean, it's not about winning, but still, though. I mean, it affects someone.
I'm sure we're all going to get our turn. You know,
Yeah,
everyone will have
exactly.
their
That's why. I mean,
moments
I left
where-
it off after, but I mean, it did. I mean, for someone, I remember the first competition when I started joining this group. Shad actually asked me, "Why don't you enter the competition?" I'm like, "No, maybe someday," because I was still new. I was intimidated. It wasn't about winning. It was just the intimidation of entering a figure. And then the second competition, well, I said, "You know what? Let me just throw myself in there, and whatever happens, happens." And surprise, ended up fourth. I mean, and it was cool. But it's
What was it?
At the Shawn Michaels. So I mean, that was fine. So I find that maybe some people are, I wouldn't say intimidated, but maybe hesitant because of, like you say, it's having fun versus actually winning or losing.
So
first
you
round.
guys like two divisions? Amateur can be sculpted or painted, right?
Sorry, what?
And do you guys like two divisions? One division is amateur, and that's repaints, or they can do sculpting or whatever the hell they want because it's the amateur division. They can just have a good time with it. And the proper division is they have to have sculpting, hand sculpting of
Well,
some
not just
sort.
I personally, if someone comes up with his own 3D sculpting and it's his own 3D figure, it's unique. If he wants to sell it afterwards, that's fine.
Yes.
But if it's unique
Yes.
at that specific moment,
Yes.
then that should be part of the
Agreed.
first division. That's
Yeah.
what I mean.
Agreed.
But if let's say, like I know Sinn does a lot of his own stuff and he does it for that competition, then he wants to sell it later on. That's fine. But for that specific competition, it's the first time we because even Shad says it's the first time we see the figure. So we see the figure first time. It's original, whether it's hand sculpted, 3D sculpted, whatever.
Whatever
But it's
sculpting,
an
just
original.
sculpted.
And
One of
then
one.
afterwards, they can make clones, they can make whatever. Then fine. But it's a
Yeah.
first release. For me, that's hand sculpture or
I agree.
3D
I
sculpture.
think that's what Chad said in the start with the two divisions, more like the repaints and then just an actual sculpting of some sort, digital or actually working with your hands, whatever. Some sculpting, some painting, two divisions down the middle there.
And the
So,
and the digital sculpting could just be what we would do, or someone would do with just LJN parts. Well, they would do it 3D sculpting, combining parts and making a figure. I mean, it's that is, to my knowledge, digital sculpting. I mean, someone could do something more original, but that specific figure would be original. Because basically what we're doing is we're just taking LJN parts and making a whole figure.
That's
None
right.
of it is ours, but I mean,
That's
the
right.
concept is ours, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you're
Exactly. You
Chopping
want to add
board.
any more to that, Duarte?
No, I said just repaints and like actually sculpting, either digital or with your hands. Like if you're chopping and actually using epoxy, or on the computer and doing, with the mouse doing click, 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 do that, turn around, do that. That's something I can't do, but that's crazy. But if you're changing parts, like taking a hand from one file, putting it in neck, if you're changing parts, that's right.
Yeah.
Because look at the last competition. I think the Andre the Giant was Nick Johnson's, right? I really thought that was a 3D print until I saw what he did. I mean, and it's it's the same level of competition. With a 3D print, some people do it manually, but you can't tell the difference. And I mean,
yeah, especially with someone like Nick Johnson who can really carve well.
Mhm.
In wrestling, we have the different terms. Like we have a work, we have a shoot, and I think there's a silly term that it's redundant. They say a work shoot, like they'll call like Bellator or something like that, a work shoot. I think it's the dumbest thing ever. I think if the work is any good, it should look like a shoot. So I think if it's sculpted, be a 3D sculpt, or you hand sculpted it like from scratch out of clay, like Pete Arco, or you Mr. Potato Headed an LJN and just chopped it all up and then added this and added that and did this and did that. I think that's sculpting. And I think if you're just repainting any of the things I just described, if you're just a guy that bought something like that from somebody and you're just painting it, then that is a repaint. Or you're painting just an old Nikolai Volkov or a Hillbilly Jim or a Hulk Hogan or whatever. That's just a repaint. And then I think like maybe people could, and I don't know, whatever, but like I think anybody that knows the difference, like you just said, the Andre the Giant, you thought it was, he is, the guy is, so you sure what it was. Cool. Like that, like maybe like it's just simple.
Lagged.
We keep the category simple, but again, to not intimidate new people, like Claudio said, maybe they kind of go in and say, hey, and to hurt everybody's idea, like what Mark also said about the cruiserweight. I feel like
you're cutting out on us, Sin. We can't hear much of what you're saying anymore, buddy. We'll wait for your Wi-Fi to catch up or whatever it is. But we're getting to the end of the show anyway. Sin's completely frozen now. Mark, do you want to show us where you're up to?
Yeah, so I've done it with all the colors I brought with me. I've kind of finished where I'm at with these. So now the eyes look.
Here, there you go, Duarte. No more nightmares for Duarte.
Oh, there it is. Perfect.
Yeah. So I still need to add like the inside of the mouth color, the lip color, probably another color on the hair. But I mean, of the colors I have with me right now, that's as far as I can get.
Yeah, they look cool, man.
No wonder why he does this friggin' customs in one day. He does everything so quickly. Look at that. He did 2 heads in 1 day.
I know. Take me ages to do.
It's all a matter of me getting the time to focus it. That's the problem.
He goes, got 12 hours? Not enough time yet. 6 hours. I'll start now.
Claudio's sculpted 3 figures together.
Yeah, I've actually worked on these 3. This was an own art where I just had to finish the tights. This is I think Amit showed this head once a while back, so it's about time I've done this figure. This is the Hogan that I'll wait to dry, then I'll sand it.
That's looking cool.
I love it. I had this idea and finally, thanks, man. Thanks a lot. And this is you recognize the figure, Zaash? This is your body with Mark Cochran head. So I said, you know what? Since it's ready.
Mark Sharp figure.
And this is Rick Martel I've been working on. Eventually I'll
the model.
On the head. Yeah, exactly. So pretty much this is what's going on in the workshop right now.
Yeah, very good work, mate. Enjoyed watching you doing that, and enjoyed watching Mark paint, and enjoyed listening to Sin tell us about his workshop and everything going on. You're always an interesting
warehouse. There's a warehouse of stuff. Warehouse of different rooms of different product. It was a production line.
I am a giant child. I play fight in spandex for a living. I have a PhD in recess. Would you expect anything less?
Good work. And Shad, anything else to finish up on?
Get to work on your customs. The event closing
get to work.
Entry date is the 13th of November. It's the last one of the year, and after that, we're going to talk about Hall of Fame. First Hall of Fame.
How many are in the Hall of Fame? The top 3 or something?
Top 3 will be in there.
Cool. Yeah. Brilliant stuff, guys. It's been great catching up with you all, as per usual. Let's do it again. Let's not wait so long till the next podcast. Kevin never actually came on. I don't know what happened to Kevin. Maybe he fell asleep. I don't know. But Kevin, if you're watching or do watch, we missed you, buddy. That's it, guys. Thanks for joining us. LJN Fight Night Podcast.
Thanks,
Catch
guys.
you next time.
Peace.